So more people than we think understand non-duality, because everyone understands it. What wants to be talked about is that I don't believe the words that are spoken much of the time. And in the realm of spirituality, and I would put non-duality into that, because it's talked about and taught about and studied about in voices that claim authority. That authority is really helpful at times, and often the people that I encounter who resonate here as living in whatever moment I'm crossing paths with them, non-dually, whatever that means, which here means authentically. To not have the baggage of any words or doctrine. Is helpful. And when I say, like, I don't believe what you say, I don't believe what people say much of the time, I would include myself in that. Of the words that are spoken, even with the best clarity and intention here, words become co-opted. They're translated, language to language, family to family. Like, our sense of the same word is not the same. And so to take lightly what others speak about in the realm of spirituality, because the more we try to get concrete about what is sacred and what is true, it's a slippery slope of getting further away. And someone had asked me, how do you use disability to wake up, to awaken? Well, first I would say you don't. Nothing is used. There's no one to use any of this experience. You can't wake yourself up. Striving, seeking is as long as it's motivated by a sense of needing to be someone or something that's better than what I am right now, that seeking is pulling you away from the liberation of what already is. So seeking isn't inherently problematic, but it's how the seeking happens, and when, and where. And also with disability and illness, there's such an opportunity that is already being experienced. So when we're sick, you don't have to use that. You, as a person, don't have to use that sickness to get anywhere else. The sickness is undoing you. And that's why illness is so painful. Because it inherently deconstructs the sense of separate self. It deconstructs who we are in the body, which is also where the mind is experienced. So in the whole being, wherever there's conditioning that pulls away, illness can disintegrate the ability to believe that we can pull away. It really shows us that we are not what we think we are, and that can be terrifying and so painful. And there's so much grief in losing who we think we should be. And that is awakening. There's no way around grief and awakening for here. And every person I know who's suffered with illness, like it's unavoidable. It's whether we see the awakening happening and we allow the shift in perception. And that's paradoxical because there is no person who's doing that. But if life is allowed to be life as it is, and the suffering is allowed to be felt as much as it's capable of being felt, there can be a true death of the self. The self can really, really, really reckon with, I'm not me, in illness. And I don't know how I got on this topic. Words are just coming through of disability and awakening, because the words wanted to just point to their own limitations and the work that I do. I think anyone maybe who watches this, who works with people in a therapeutic way, thousands and thousands of hours of sitting with people, processing with people, seeing human patterns. How often are people speaking about something that's not what they're speaking about? And so just because there's a talking about non-duality in a certain way, doesn't mean that people who talk about it are any closer or further away than anyone else. And sometimes the talking about it gets us further. And that's paradoxical because it wants to be talked about here in this way, right now. And it's quite liberating to not have to believe what people are speaking in words. That listening to someone is multifaceted. Which allows the domino effect of how communication and interaction is received to be connecting. Whatever that person is saying that might be triggering or discordant with the emotional tone here, or numb and cold, or just totally like feels totally wrong what they're saying, just feels like that's not right. That the listening is happening and can happen beyond words. And it has to. And it always does, even if the mind believes that we just had a conversation about something. We can walk away intuitingly, if that's a word, intuiting the truth. We know the truth. The truth is we are awake to it. It's whether we are shrinking from it and fighting it and fooling ourselves or fooling others that maybe the truth might be something else, or we're liberated to be with it, in it, as it. Yeah, it's such a mystery here because even in my heart, in this moment, there's a lot of fire around how speaking in the realm of spirituality can cause a lot of harm and ownership and separation. And how it truly is impossible to speak about the isness that life is. And the aliveness wants to speak about it here. Why? There's no answer to that.